Boom. TK.
What a monumental day this is.
What a monumental day this is.
Oh my gosh. I'm excited, Daryl. What do I do?
I don't know. I mean, we may not have to do anything.
We may not have to do anything
I
today.
think we just do what we normally do.
I think so too. Yeah. What's new with you? What about your deals? What's going on with the deals, Daryl? Are there deals on the table? Are there deals on the desk? What's going on?
There's a lot of deals on the desk. There's not too many that I would say are on the table. There's one that's, well, it looked like it was making a lot of progress, but I told you I shouldn't laugh. That's horrible, TK, that I laughed because the next words out of my mouth are just horrible. But
start again.
Yeah.
Edit out the laugh.
Well, so somebody died, and that obviously put a wrench in things. And somebody else went on a cruise, so that that didn't help things. So, I think I said it last time. It's like, as soon as I think everything's coming together, it'll start falling apart. And then, I'll do my best to keep it together, and then we'll see what happens. And it'll just be that for a while, more than likely. I mean, if you've ever tried to wrangle 6 of anything, TK.
Yes.
It's just not easy.
Children, goats,
ants, like
real
anything.
Estate sellers.
Nothing.
It's a tough show. I was talking to a guy. Talking to a guy who's got a bunch of projects. He does like 200-300 townhouse units and stuff like that in like Paris, Ontario, and a few other places that I've never been to. And so he was telling me so that they got everything sold. They had sold prior to the big price run up. So they had definitely protection, insulation from people not closing, right? Because the appraisals were coming in and all that kind of stuff. So he had one project that there was everything except for 5 closed. And those 5 were assignments, which I want to talk about today with you. So they were like the original purchasers, they all closed, but 5 people had assigned it to someone else at a higher price. And then those appraisal values didn't come through. And then another one, he had 1 not close. That was also an assignment as well too, that someone had flipped the contract. For the most part,
are they assigning them at a higher price, or are they assigning them for a fee?
They assigned it at a higher price, like in the peak. So they bought pre, and then long story short, that's what I'm trying to get at is, he's done well. So his projects have completed, and he's obviously got a few extra of those units that didn't close. He says he's not getting a peep. Nobody's even, calling him about him. So they're just not moving. But he was like, I'm waiting for the deals. He's like, I know that there are land guys out there right now, developers who have put in a lot of money and time into these projects, and they will not be able to move forward. Yeah. He says, and there's guys who the financing and everything like that will not come through. That's why some of the guys are trying to launch and sell right now, because they want to get a certain percentage sold so that they can get financing to just basically keep their project afloat. Right. And he said, let me know when you find those deals from those bigger sites, 200-300 type of unit sites, right? Like townhouses and stuff like that.
Did you hear what happened with Aspen Ridge today or yesterday?
No,
tell me. A couple days ago.
Yeah,
I just started coming out on Twitter. I just saw it today, but people got letters from Aspen Ridge for a project of theirs where they've canceled the project. Like just in the last couple of days. There's no well, I mean, they're saying in the letter, which I have a copy of, but they're saying in the letter, basically, the city didn't give us the permissions in time, the permits in time. And there's a carry-on stipulation in the agreement of purchase and sales that says by the 5-year mark, if you don't have your permits in place, that the deal has to get canceled.
What size project is this?
It's like the final phase. It's like the high-rise corner piece of like there's a mid-rise there, and there's townhouses there already. It's called Union Margot. I don't even know where it is, to be honest. Maybe Markham, something like that. I'm sure you could search it up and let us know pretty quickly. I should have probably done that, but we're not recording in our normal day, and I feel rushed, TK. But anyways, I should have checked
Concord,
that out.
Ontario.
Concord. Is it
Oh wait,
Concord?
no, that's just Aspen
That
Ridge
doesn't
owns
sound right.
main office. No,
Yeah.
Margo.
But
Bad
Aspen
information,
Ridge,
TK.
but
Bad
Aspen
information.
Ridge is a juggernaut. This is the Gaspers family. They are gigantic. Markham. Oh, so is that what I said? Yeah, Markham.
You said
so
Markham.
I did my research. Look at me. I'm backtracking now. Okay, TK.
Yep.
The point is Aspen Ridge is canceling a project, and people in the media are going to start saying that, oh my God, like the market.
This episode is brought to you by Landlord.
This landlord software is a game changer. You upload your properties, right? You'll upload all the information, income, expenses, timelines, mortgage details, everything that you need to have so that you keep track of everything in your portfolio. And as you go through real-time adjustments in, rent increases and water bills and tax bills and everything else, they're going to actually give you recommendations on how to make your portfolio more efficient. And it just breaks everything down for me in a way that I've never seen before. Like Excel spreadsheets just don't cut it. I don't think there's a better program or app out there for investors, and it's free.
Please click the link below for your free trial offer.
And Aspen Ridge is in trouble, and oh my God, what are we going to do? And I don't think that is the actual story here. Maybe that's not what the media is going to do with it. Yep. But I just see in comments already, it's like, oh, here we go, right? And I mean, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I mean,
the city's inability to address the site's outstanding planning issues in a reasonable and timely manner has resulted in today's announcements and the termination of all agreements of purchase and sale for the Union Margo condominium, including yours, Mr. Reader.
Yours, Mr. Reader.
Yeah.
And then so the day after, they all got their checks with interest and their deposits back, like the next day after they got this first letter, right?
Yeah.
And they're also saying that we're willing to give even more to you, like to make up for this, like email this person here at this email address to like get your benefits or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is. It's probably discounts in a future project, or maybe the ability to roll into another project.
Priority. Yeah.
So I mean, it's a high-rise project. So chances are people bought these quite some time ago. I mean, they're saying 5 years to get, they're saying 5 years to get permits. And see, this is one problem and one flaw in the system is like, why the hell is anybody allowed to sell anything that doesn't have permits? Because like, what if you sell units that you're not even allowed to build? Or, I mean, a lot of guys will
clause in the contract for that.
For sure.
Right.
Well, there's a clause in the contract for anything. So, I mean, in a down market like today, Tarion may actually have saved these people by having that stipulated in their mandates and put into, well, I mean, listen, it's not like values are good, right? At the moment.
But
it's
when
not
did they buy? That's the question.
That's the thing. And for what did they buy? And when are they going to get appraised?
And if they're still 2 years from completion, where will the market be in 2 years? So there is like a little bit of an unknown.
For sure. So, but it's interesting. Oh, it's interesting that is happening, especially as you're discussing it. What your friend is looking for, because like this is Aspen Ridge. Okay, this is Aspen Ridge. So, I imagine that this is just like planned, that it's like, you know what, somehow something has to happen for a project to move forward. Like you either need to get a certain amount of square footage that makes it make sense for you, right? Or you have to get a certain price per square foot on the sale. Like something has to happen for things to make sense for the project to move forward, right? So I don't know what made this one not move forward. I don't know what kind of problem they could have with the city that takes 5 years to get permits, but like, I mean, they are Aspen Ridge. They get permits all the time. They probably get away with a lot more than most people get away with on their applications as well, because they listen, these guys are providing a ton of homes for a ton of people. I mean, they make a lot of money.
Let's theorize here. Let's theorize here. If I sold a project 5 years ago and based it on the construction cost at that time and sold it at a price that based on the pre-construction sale market, I was able to obtain from the market, right? And during those maybe 2-3 years into, my project's, start date and sales date, we have a global pandemic and the cost of construction went up, 35 or more %. And I watched the price of pre-construction condos go from an average of $900 a square foot, $1,000 a square foot, $1,100 a square foot, to a stat I just read this morning, $1,420 a square foot in the GTA. So I've got this huge loss on potential profits, and I got this huge extra expense on my hard costs. I might slow down a little bit, you know, knowing that I have this 5-year clause in that agreement, and that I would be forced, my hand would be forced to be able to cancel a project. I'm not saying Aspen Ridge would do that. TK Butler, a guy who's not a developer, might think that that was a good play for the beneficial interest of my company and our investors. Just saying.
I mean, if we look at the timeline for the events, like where they would have started selling, what they sold for, I mean, I'm surprised these things aren't built. So what happened between, like, okay, we think we have a good enough idea from the city that we can go forward and start selling these things, to like, holy shit, it's another 3 years later, 4 years later, and we don't even have permits yet. Like, what happened in the middle there? Right? Because you're not launching a site without having some kind of work done and some kind of feedback from the city and planning reports and back and forths for at least a little while, right? Before you're going to build a sales office and launch a whole project, right? So
especially when you're one of the bigger developers who's got the resources to figure all that out.
And wait until like everything is in place properly, right? So something happened that triggered these guys to sell a condo, like a building, like not like 6 stories, like, I don't know, 20 something plus story building, right?
Sold out.
Sales
started winter, spring 2019, right before the pandemic. Who would have thought?
Yes, and that makes sense. Everything you're saying makes sense, but what doesn't make sense is why they haven't even started yet. If they sold out in 2019, this thing should have like they should be above grade. They should be building. They should have cladding on. Like, it's 4 years later.
Again, I'm not saying anything happened. I know nothing about this project whatsoever. But if it were me and I saw that, you know, A, my project may not be profitable, or B, you know, there was a ton of money that I could be raking in, and that it would not come out as being, you know, greed. It would be simply a technicality that the contract has in place.
Yeah,
the city's fault.
Tarion and the city's fault. We're sorry. We're going to deal with this properly. Here's your money back.
Yeah.
And we're going to relaunch at something different later.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I don't know, like, what do you do if you're the developer? Do you sell the site now? I mean, they're Aspen Ridge. They could let it sit for 10 years and wait for everybody to forget about this.
Exactly.
Right? Like, oh my God. Well, it's out there and it's happening, and people are looking for stuff like that. So, I mean, imagine a guy like me, okay, who's hanging on to a site right now, or in a year from now, I got a site and I've been working on it for a year, and I got to renew my mortgage, or my mortgage is going up with prime rates, because that's how a lot of them work, especially when you're a small guy. Oh my God. Like, there's going to be some deals out there. I see, like, there's zone deals. Every marketing piece is a zone deal, right?
What does that tell you?
What does that tell you? That guys could not get the financing they needed to carry the thing forward. It didn't matter that the thing was zoned, or they paid too much for it before, or it took too long to get it zoned. Or they don't see a benefit in
them selling. Right? They don't see a benefit in them going through with the project at this point.
It's a problem. They're better off just selling it.
Exactly.
And this is the tip of the iceberg. I don't know, people. Meanwhile, the market's on fire. There's like people are going crazy out there. Although,
are they?
I don't know. Like last week, everybody was saying, "Oh my God, there's so many showings and so many this, and there's offers and offers." And then everybody was like, "Hey, it feels like it's slower. Do you feel slower? I feel slower. Do you feel slower?" And now it's like just crazy. I see power of sales, like you're talking about, going up.
Great episode last week.
Ours?
Yeah.
Oh my God. People are touting it as our best ever.
If you haven't watched it and you're listening to this right now, stop this video and this nonsense and go watch our last video.
Go back and watch that one, and then come back to this.
Come back here and find out how little we know compared to those guys.
I wonder if this will still be relevant when it airs, because we're a little ahead of the game. But
no, we're good.
Anyways, I think, okay, so imagine like big, powerful company like Aspen Ridge with all the resources in the world having to deal with something like this, like there's going to be some brimstone and fire for some guys, not everybody. Like some guys are going to just chug through it like nothing happened. There's some guy will be like, you know, a little flea on the collar, a little annoyance.
Here's the what do they call those guys? The public
relations,
PR guy. There you go. Here's the PR guy's take on it. Okay. Right now, there's a ton of assignments out there. There's a ton of people who can't close. There's a ton of people who are saying pre-construction is bad. Oh my gosh, stay away. That is the sentiment. And to be able to give people an opportunity to get out of these contracts, many of them are relieved.
Yeah, that's what Foch put on Twitter. He's like, this is a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, many of them are relieved. And so the PR guys are saying, look, I know we have to cancel the project. I know we're a big name. I know this is not something that we ever want to have in our sort of like legacy of developments. But in this one opportunity, it might be the time to do it, where there's going to be much less backlash from it, and that it actually will be saving the project, because they're also involved in a lot of other projects. And a lot of these projects right now to get closing, which I think is a great topic for us today, the amount of people who bought projects that are closing this year. Right, we got a record number of 32,000 units, you know, being closed this year for condos, and we got all these new freehold houses that have been bought pre-construction and are going to be finished this year as well. We have so many people who are not able to close this year on these deals. It is crazy how many people don't have the capabilities of, one, the appraised value, right, covering the shortfall, two, qualifying for the mortgage at the new rate that they didn't expect to be qualifying at.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Before we move forward on that, let's get one thing clear. There's 0.0% chance that we will build 32,000 units this year.
Agreed.
It never happened. It will not happen this year.
Will not complete. They won't be complete 32,000
Will not
units.
Complete.
They might be under construction right now.
Plus,
but it doesn't mean that it's going to be finished this year.
Right.
I agree.
Plus, out of the 32,000, however many do get complete, they're sold. Okay, they're spoken for. You can't have them unless things fall apart for people, which that's a lot of people waiting for their product to be built, although most of them are probably investors or assigners or flippers or whatever the hell we're calling them these days.
Yeah.
Right? Bag holders. It's too bad. But I mean,
is that one of Luke's slangs? Bag holders?
This is like a crypto slang, isn't it?
The crypto.
I don't know. This is what the kids say. Rug pull, bag holder.
Bag holder. Haha. Boomer.
But they're stuck holding the bag, right?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, who the hell knows what's going to happen? This is not a domino, but it's an indicator that dominoes are about to fall, because if they're dealing with, at the end of the day, no matter what the hell happened with the municipality, there's, again, 0% chance that this isn't a financial decision.
Yes.
Right?
Agreed.
Whatever happened, it's a money thing. Right? So if they're dealing with this magnitude of money thing where they're willing to cancel a project right now, okay?
Yeah.
What the hell are some of these dumbasses that came in and bought land and don't know what they're doing, but like somebody made them think that they could do a development deal, right? They're like, I met this guy at a bar and he's got a couple million and we're going to be developers, and boom, I bought this thing over here. And blah, blah.
Not even just those guys. There's a lot of other guys too who are very experienced developers, but they just got greedy. They over leveraged themselves. They put out a lot of money. That was their capital. And right now they're knocking on all their investors' doors and they're saying, okay, we need people to, you know, recapitalize the fund or whatever it is that, you know, they're organizing. And the guys are going and put it into real estate. And
How do I
you mean
get
you got
out of
500
this?
units that you haven't even sold yet that we already funded?
Yeah, no, they're coming for more money, and the lenders are like, you know what? I was actually going to come to you and ask you if I could get my money back. Right?
Exactly. Right. It is not easy to get these deals done. Right. And so, and to get money right now, it's like, there's so many, I'm getting approached right now with so many of the multifamily guys. That's kind of my space that I'm always looking at for investments. There's so many guys who are like, got these great buildings tied up, looking for investors, JV. What do you guys want?
What's
like,
the cap though?
Right.
2%.
Well, big ones. Cause they're like out of province and different things, but they're the ones that are in Ontario. if they're in a small town or whatever, they're a lot higher.
Oh.
But you know, the better areas and stuff like that are still not great cap rates. Anyways, long story short is I'm seeing these deals more often that people were begging to be a part of before.
Mhm.
And so
Right.
that tells me that
Yeah.
they couldn't get the money from their other
Yeah.
investors.
Better send it to TK now.
Better
We
send
can't
it to
find
TK. We're
anybody.
desperate. Maybe he's dumb enough to get in on this, right? It's what it is, right? So
Well,
that's what I'm
there's
noticing.
tiers. Yeah. There's
Yeah,
definitely
you
tiers.
you see the difference, right?
That's why I always say, like, when people are calling me, when trades are calling me, I know things are getting slower out there, right?
Yeah.
That's a leading indicator for sure. Because
Wow,
I'm
I can't
on like I don't even know what tier I must be on for some of these guys.
Yeah.
Right.
I
I'm
actually
down
got an
there.
email today from a trade that I can't believe you just said that, from somebody who, when I was dealing with them a year or two ago, was so busy that, you know, you could barely get a hold of them. And now it's reaching out, asking me,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
just checking in to see how you're doing.
Call a contractor now and see if they
Right.
answer the phone.
Yeah.
See if
will.
they're answering the phones now.
We should do it right now live.
It used to, yeah, we should do that. But it used to be that like you'd call a roofer, right? And he'd be like, I'm on the roof. Like I'm not answering the phone. Like they can
Yeah.
wait, right? Oh, that guy is hanging off the
torching.
roof to get
He's
the
torching.
phone, right?
He's like,
He's
I
jumping.
put out an ad this morning for carpet removal. So I got a house. I'm listing it next week. There's carpets that I want to remove, and all my guys are busy. Like I hire friends and people like that. So they're at school or they're working other jobs now. One guy joined the army. I don't know. Anyways,
The Canadian
so I put out an ad
Army?
on Kijiji for laborers, and within 5 minutes, I had about 40 people all reach out and say, "Yep, I'll do it, no problem," because I'm offering $30 an hour and it's a fast, easy job.
Cash.
Yeah, cash job, right? And so I got a guys meeting me there tomorrow at 1 o'clock to get it done. But
But
yeah,
look how many
there's
people are looking. Isn't that crazy?
tons of people, minutes. I had to delete the ad. I was like, I'm gonna get my whole mailbox full here if I don't.
Isn't that nuts though?
Yeah.
That there's so
No,
many people that jump on it.
No,
that
it's not nuts.
quickly?
It's what it is right now, right? There's a lot of
Why?
people.
But there's
Unemployment
unemployment
numbers are not real.
Unemployment numbers are not real.
Yeah.
But they're
people unaccounted for.
understated.
They have jobs, but they're under work, like they're not working as much, right? So they're underemployed.
Collecting unemployment.
What it is. So they've got they're not making as much money as they could or they should, or the job's part-time, or they have not that much of a commitment, or it's seasonal, or it's whatever. And so they have to go and work these other jobs, but they're all cash jobs under the table and all that kind of stuff that they're looking for.
I think this is why sentiment is really the most important indicator, because the rest of it's all bullshit, right? Like all the numbers are such bullshit. So it's like, and you see people on Twitter posting like, like the word on the street is very different than the statistics. Like, because a lot of people were saying like, what's going on? It's really busy out here right now. And the stats are like, no, it's not. And it seems like I don't know, you can't believe anything.
Real estate pumpers.
It's pumpers, but it's like I think there's other people that are trying to do the opposite of pumping.
People, the issue with the real estate industry is that everyone just look, and I'm guilty of this too. We just look at our individual business and we base the whole market off of what I've been doing lately, right? My listings got activity and my buyers are saying this and all that, but it's not the whole market, right? And so if somebody was in a market where there was a flurry of activity, which there was, and I would even say that there was a little bit of a time in January where prices were actually getting increased. There was pressure because there's multiple offers and different things like that too. But it was such a small window. And just a few of those people trickled around still, like this week and maybe next week. But we're going right back to, I don't want to buy. There was a ton of inventory that came on this week, Darryl. Every market that I was looking in, that for clients like buyers, and we were waiting, something came up this week. So there's a lot of new listings coming up already, and people are, going to be flooding the listings more. And every buyer's telling me the same thing. Every buyer's telling me the same thing. Oh, that's too much. Oh, they're paid too much. Oh, they're asking too much. And I went to the bank and the bank's not giving me as much as they were before. Like,
that's why everything's too much, because the bank won't give you enough to pay for what you actually want, right? And the prices just have not come down. But like on top of it, you got people, have you seen this? Like people renewing, like from B lenders, okay? I see multiple people talking about people that started like around 3% and are renewing for over 8%.
Yeah, that's what they said last week. Yeah,
right.
that's crazy.
No, it's crazy.
I haven't heard of multiple. but I believe him when he was telling us, you know.
No,
last
but
week,
not
that's-
only from him. Like since he even said that, I've seen other people posting about it where they've got multiple people.
Yeah.
It's insane. But I mean, how is that not going to get inventory on the market? Like people are going to have to just sell. No,
People have to sell.
how do you go from 3 to 8%?
That's a big jump. I was hearing 6.25 for a B, but I don't know all the terms and everything else like that. But anyways,
It's crazy,
Darryl,
but that's an inventory thing. So look at all this. So now you got canceled projects where people are expecting to live somewhere and now they got to start again, right?
Yep.
You got all kinds of people that are like waiting on the sidelines for prices to come down. You got all kinds of people, sellers that don't want to list their property because they're hoping it's going to go up again soon. And then you got all kinds of people probably starting to think, shit, my renewal. Oh my God, look at these numbers. Like if I do the math on one of these mortgage calculators, I can't do this. How the hell am I going to do this?
Yeah.
Right. And you got to, I mean, it depends on the, maybe in Saskatchewan and Calgary, and I mean, maybe some parts of Montreal or Quebec are going to have a problem, but Toronto, I don't know about all of Ontario, but people in Toronto, where the average price is $1.6 million for a house, right?
Mhm.
Like now you got from year over year, people are down 16% if they bought in January. Next month's going to look even worse than that. Right. And if you bought in March, is even worse than that. There's going to be people that are going to be showing soon, like upside down 30-something%. Right. And then so what about the people that bought 4 years ago? They're up for renewal. They were responsible. They got a bunch of equity. Okay. But they still have like a $800,000 million mortgage that they have to renew.
Well, let's look at the numbers here, because you brought up some points here that this article actually talks about. It was published yesterday. It's a okay, so Remax sent this out, right? And now Remax biased opinion 100%. So don't think I'm saying that all this is presented in a way that's factual, but these are the numbers, okay? So loan to value ratios, okay? We're at 53% in the third quarter of 2022. All right. So compared to 63% 10 years earlier.
What's that
means
variable?
No. So loan to value ratios, meaning that people were putting down bigger down payments. So 10 years ago, people would have a 63% loan to value ratio, right? So have 37% equity. Third quarter of 2022, 53%, right? So 47% equity. So that's a lot of equity.
More cash.
Right? In
have
Toronto.
To. It's the only, but it's the only way that deals could get done.
But that's
right?
a lot of equity, though. So that doesn't support the everyone came in with 20% and their equity just got wiped out narrative, to be honest with you. Okay.
Sure.
Third quarter of 2012, the average house price was 483.
Fine.
Average
Forget
mortgage
everyone.
was 305.
How
Now
many people affect the market, though? Is there enough people that it affects the market?
I'm giving you the average. Let me read the numbers.
Yeah.
Third quarter average price was $1,080,000, right? And the average mortgage was $567,000. So it's not an average $1 million mortgage, right? So I get the narrative. I understand why everyone's complaining and everybody's scared. And there are people who are screwed royally and they will have to sell for sure. But there's also a lot of people who were, fiscally responsible. Remember, most people are buying and selling. Most of those people that were paying these crazy prices also sold. I went to go see a guy 2 weeks ago who overpaid for a house, and overpaid is a strong word. His house is worth $400,000 less today than it was when he bought it. But he told me his story, and but
he didn't overpay.
Well, whatever.
That's
at the time, I don't know. I wasn't there. What the market was like when he bought at that time. There could have been 10 other people who wanted to pay that price. So I don't know. But the bottom line is it's worth $400K today.
So there was 10 people willing to overpay for this house.
I don't know.
Oh my God, what a spin. Okay, yeah. That was good though. Impressive. Oh, did we lose you?
I ruined the energy there. I hit my mic and knocked it off. Okay.
Sorry.
So then
I threw you off.
He sold his property though at the same time for like $400,000 more than it's worth today. It's not like it all sort of balanced it out, right? So like I tried to explain that to him, because I told him if he wants to sell now, he's got to sell for way less than he did. But I told him if he was still in that other house, it'd be worth way less too. So really, was there a loss? So a lot of those people were made up. So that 53 loan to value average in Toronto is also made up of a lot of people who also sold crazy priced property at that time. And so they were just taking their wins and they're passing it on somewhere else. And, you know, they're comfortable and that they've got enough equity to be able to weather the storm. I mean, that's the truth. And that's what this article is saying, is that, you know, we do think that, you know, mortgage delinquency rates are on the rise. We do think that there's going to be an economic downturn driven by job losses. You know, we agree that there's gonna be a lot of people who won't be able to renew and all that kind of stuff. But like, what's the percentage of people? Because that's really what causes, you know, a further decline in prices. And prices are going down. They're on their way down. They've gone down. They're going to continue to go down as long as this environment that we're in right now remains the same. That's 100% obvious.
Enough
But it's
people under enough pressure.
Yes.
Will affect the market. So yes, okay,
So,
fine. If we're using,
this is the comment here. Just let me read it, okay?
Yeah.
Homeowners are better able to withstand downward pressure on housing values, and fewer will find themselves underwater carrying upside down loans, right? So that's the main thing, is when you've got less people who are underwater, right? So that basically, imagine living in your home, okay? You paid 1.2 million, all right? You got a loan for 900,000, and now it's worth 800,000. How motivated are you to continue to pay those bills every single month? How like passionate are you to go and get that other job now that your payments have gone up 50%? What's motivating you to do all this?
TikTok is motivating me to hang on and wait because prices are coming back.
So that's the thing. Those are the people who end up, you know, failing because, of course, the motivation's not there. They're like, this is going to be 20 years of me working till I can even make that money back. And I'm going to like kill myself and I'm going to get a divorce and I won't even know my kids. They're the ones who give up. And I just don't see the high rate of negative equity yet.
Yeah, wait till all these tech guys who are making 200 grand who moved to Georgina or to Georgetown, right, and paid ridiculous sums of money for stupid houses, get laid off and can't find that next job for more money, right?
Well, then they need to do
around for 3 years going, hey, I make 200. Do you want to give me 210? Okay. All right. I'm going over there for 210. Right. And then the next one's 250. But there's a lot of them. And even in Austin, like Austin, Texas, where so many crazy engineering jobs were like, even those companies started cutting jobs. Right. Mm-hmm. And so all
expenses, this is what the guys last week said. I think it was Vince. He was talking about like, you were approved at 5.25%. There's a stress test. You were paying 2%.
Yeah, but you keep focusing on the normal person, not all the fucking bullshit underneath, which is enough. I'm saying
everybody was stress test. So when those people were getting their qualifications done, and now they should still be able to afford today's rates of 5% when they renew this year. They should
still
all the
people be able that got to. Stress test has been around since 2017 or whatever because stress of the variable rates.
Stress doesn't matter. Those are all. It's like 20 basis points difference.
So we're fine.
In theory, in theory, I'm just giving you the other side of the argument because everyone's doom and gloom, and I'm saying how I'm looking at this.
Yeah.
Is that in theory, those people still should be able to qualify for mortgages as long as their income credit, job, all this stuff is still in place.
Mortgages.
The job market will completely annihilate this market if the job market changes drastically.
But will they be able to afford to renew their mortgage? They'll be able to get a mortgage somewhere.
However they got it.
You think?
Yes, but what they've been doing is this is the issue. Is they've been spending that extra money on nonsense. So they're not able to pay for it. They don't feel like they can afford it. They will think about selling because their lifestyles have gone up to a certain point. They thought after they got that mortgage, they said, well, I got all this extra room, 2%. I'm going to go and buy a car. I'm going to go. So car dealerships
went down and Tesla went down and that brought down a generation with it.
Right? Car dealers, go and talk to the car dealers about what their business is like right now. Okay.
Nobody's
buying a car.
Do you see interest rates on used cars? Somebody posted today 12.88% on used cars.
Yeah. Who's going to do that?
I got mine at like 0.9%.
Yeah. Right.
The last time I financed a car was 0.9% TK.
Exactly.
Now they're at 12.88. How do people do that?
They don't. They're not. So again, these are all the little things that happen is that there's going to be like, used car bubble. There's going to be the job market is going to change. There's going to be people who are going to be stressed about spending money because they're going to have to make those cutbacks. So that adds to the restaurants and services and retail and all that kind of stuff that end up getting hurt. Right. And it's a spiraling effect that eventually will lead to job losses, which then does create an environment where people aren't able to afford those bills. But it's not like what everyone is saying, which is like there's like 30% of people this year, like there's 1.1 million mortgages coming up for renewal. Not all of them, not even a large percentage of them are going to be forced to sell.
No.
Every one of them, as long as everything has remained the same, would still qualify for their A lender mortgage that they got previously. The alternative people, they're the ones who are really screwed. The private lender stuff, all that, we're already seeing those go to power sale.
Yeah.
But the other stuff
and it's not even
much less
happening
volatile.
yet. It's not even happening yet. This is the point. And it's going to start getting a little ugly. So.
And then one last point here. Sorry. This is a better dwelling article. So
it's probably extraordinarily positive
stuff that they're talking about.
But anyways, he's all happy now that things are doom and gloom, man. He's like all giggly and happy.
So HELOC debt, right? So they were saying, well, HELOC debt is now starting to come down. So in November, decline of 2.9% in home equity line of credit debt, right? And so, that was something that was being applauded, right? Oh, wow, this is amazing. People are starting to pay off their debt, and that's fantastic. But if you look at actually all home equity debt that's secured by real estate, right? It's actually leveling off, but it went up 0.1%, which is still hundreds of millions of dollars a month. It's still going up. So people are still borrowing like crazy. If you look at this chart and you look at where it was in 2012 to 17, 18, it starts to go up, 19, 20, it's kind of moving sideways. And then boom, 2022, it's jumping up a huge amount, right? So of course, they always print a chart that makes it look worse than it is.
But what it's saying is people are paying down their HELOCs,
but actually increasing the amount of debt that they're getting. So, and that's not good. In order for us to have any type of recovery, the total number of Canadian debt secured by home equity needs to go down, because there's other types of debt that's secured. There's other type of loans that are secured that are not home equity line of credits.
That are secured against the property?
Yeah.
Like a second mortgage?
Everything. I mean, any type of, loan that could be secured against the property is bundled into this.
So people are finding other ways of getting their equity out of the house other than a HELOC if they need it. But I'll bet you there's a lot of people that had their money lent out from their HELOC, like to a MIC or something, that were lucky enough to get their money back and just like threw it back into the HELOC, right? And there's probably a lot of people that had money out there. People were big shots with their 1% HELOC money, back in the day. It's like, oh, you need $1,000, you need a couple grand to get by. Like, I'll lend you money. Yeah, don't even worry about the interest. It's $30, right? Yeah. I was even one of them sometimes, right? Because who the hell cared? It was like so cheap. It was ridiculous to help somebody out.
Just a HELOC, don't worry.
But I guarantee you, people are calling those loans back like crazy over the last few months.
Yeah.
What a mess, TK. And I'm telling you, I know you're Mr. Positive and that you like to live in positivity, and that's great. But I think the reality is that it gets pretty messy soon. Like, I really don't think that we are prepared for what is about to come down the pipe. Like, I don't think
what is coming down the pipe.
Ever seen anything like this.
What is coming down the pipe?
Well, I mean, it's going to be really tough for shelter, like CPI, to come down. Like, oil prices are going to go up. There's no way around that. Like, I can't imagine. Like, wages keep going up. People, 30 people need a $30 job, right? In 10 seconds. Like, you have malls or like, it's not slowing down. They have to kill it. Like, we're going to have a pause. And what we're already seeing is people are already acting a little bananas, right? And so if they actually do pause for any amount of time, and even if they cut rates, like, it doesn't mean that that's the trajectory, right? Like, if they cut rates and CPI goes back up to 9%, like, do we think they're just going to keep cutting rates? No, like, there's a weird craziness going on here. There's still too many people that feel too wealthy right now. Right. And
Yes.
so, right. And so
That's a problem. I have witnessed this. There are too many people who feel too wealthy right now.
right. Right.
That needs to change.
No, but it needs to change,
It needs
and
to
it's
change.
not changing. And so we have
Yeah.
6% or whatever interest rates, and 8% interest rates, or 4.25% is the bank rate, or whatever the hell the number is now. 4.5. What is it? I don't even know. It's been so many.
Which one? The 5-year fixed rate?
No. What's the Bank of Canada rate at right now?
4.5. Yeah.
4.5. Like it's like I'm desensitized to the rate hikes. It doesn't even. It's craziness. But TK, all this is happening, and they have one fucking weapon: rates. So, like, what the hell can they do? And it's obvious that they're willing to sacrifice the real estate market all over the world, right? TK, I'm telling you.
This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of pain. There's going to be people who need to sell. There's going to be some people who once the okay, so assignments. This is it. I want to talk about this. I'm in all these WhatsApp groups for assignments and pre-construction and all that kind of stuff. And I got all these investors that are all sharks that are all like, let me know when you got somebody who bought 5 years ago and they're willing to sell it at a loss.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'll post it in the group and I'll
But
see
it's
if
always
anybody else has
not
got
enough of a loss, right?
right.
Yeah, it's
I'll
not
see
low
if
enough.
anybody else has got a project similar to that, right?
Yeah.
So I post it like 3 days in a row. I post, let me know. And I get all these people like sending me all these things, like nowhere close to what I'm asking for in my post. Just a bunch of agents just trying to solicit me, saying, "Yeah, you got a buyer, yeah, downtown Toronto. What about Mississauga?"
It's pretty much
like,
the
what do
same.
you mean? It's not what I asked for. Like 2 bedrooms. What about a studio in Vaughan? I'm like, what are you talking about? So, anyways, long story short, TK, this is such a saturated group, okay, that I couldn't even keep up with the amount of messages that I'm getting every day from all these people. And I see other people posting the same thing that I have. Motivated cash buyer looking for deals. Da, 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 da. So there's a bunch of people swimming right now, and they're all feeling the same thing. Why should I buy an assignment when somebody else doesn't want it? No one wants to buy anything that someone else doesn't want. And if there's all this availability out there, then people just sit around twiddling their thumbs and they say, well, you know what? I'll wait till I get a good deal. Then you bring the right deal, and guess what they say? Not good enough.
It's not good enough.
It's not good enough. So it's a big waste of time. And I told my investors this. I said, look, if a really good deal comes across my desk, I'll buy it. And then I'll tell you how well I did. But other than that, let's focus on something that's a real investment, because there's no like control in that assignment market right now. Okay. There's no control in it, and it doesn't make any sense, and no one wants to do it. So there's a huge amount of people who are not able to close those units coming up this year because of qualifying. The equity may or may not be there. So depending on when they bought, if they have equity, they can get private money and they can carry it and be able to, make those payments because they've got a job that allows them to do that or whatever, right? Like if they're in that, if they're in that position, right? They can rent it out and all that stuff, or flip it right away and get out. But if they don't have equity, nobody's going to lend them that money. The builders are going to want their money, right? And then what happens? What does the builder have to do? Right? The builder has to remarket the property, hold them in default, remarket the property, try to get as close to the value that they got from that contract, sell it at whatever the best price they can get, right?
Sue.
And then sue them for the difference. And so that creates downward pressure on prices too, because everyone's going to be going to the builders and saying, I'll offer you 20% below what you're asking or what you're offering, or 30%, whatever the number is, right? Based on the resale market. So it will put downward pressure on the resale market for condos as well too.
Right. And so there should be all this downward pressure on the economy, right?
Which leads to job losses and other
Which
areas.
leads to, and we haven't seen it yet. So if we've seen this many increases and we haven't seen the job losses yet, and we haven't seen the competition for jobs decrease, which means the wages are still going up, right?
Yep.
What's it going to take? And now they're talking pause. So like, it's not going to take another rate hike.
It's a slow leak. It's a slow leak. So, it's pretty clear that this is going to be something that takes a lot longer. Everyone keeps, whatever quarter we're in, everyone says, even the guys last week all said Q2.
But
no
then
matter
they
what-
started saying Q2, Q3, Q4 towards the end of the conversation.
So no matter what
it
quarter we're
changed.
in, it's the next quarter because it's not this quarter, but it's the next quarter.
It's
But
not
I
now.
think this is one of those things. And when the market went down from 1990 to 1995, it's 5 years of declines. 5 years of declines. That's a long time for that to be sustained. Now, that's enough negativity. Okay, that's as much as I can handle. I got some positivity here. Okay.
Hold on, I got one more negative thing. That's
Okay.
pretty important, I think.
Okay. All right. Go.
Like rental pricing is crazy.
Explain.
My daughter is looking at moving out, right? So she's looking at apartments. $1,800 for a room in the one bedroom. So you're a roommate with the person living in the den, okay? And you're paying $1,800. And this is not like a one-off. It's like listing after listing of like roommates for crazy amounts of money, TK. $2,000 a month. Like you can't, and what you can find for $1,400 a month in the city anywhere, even in a basement, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. It's crazy. So like, it's a big problem because like there can't be too many people that aren't settling for where they live right now, right? And like that doesn't make for a wonderful life at all.
This is a great segue into my next topic.
Yeah, go. I just wanted to throw that out there because
so
that's
rent. We'll
big
go
right
stay
now.
on yours. So rent prices becomes a hindrance for people because they can't afford to spend as much money. And so when you're paying more money in rent, you're not going out shopping, you're not buying things, you're not traveling. So you're taking money out of the economy because the cost of living for your rental or your interest rates eats up a lot of your disposable income.
Taking it out of one part of the economy.
Well, any part of the economy that you would be spending money in, it's coming out, right? Because of that. All right. And I agree. Higher housing costs. That's what they do, right? Especially those interest ones. Damn, interest payments. All right.
But it's not like that money comes out of the economy. It just, instead of going on useless shit, it's going towards shelter.
Yes.
Still in the economy. Yeah.
It's still in the economy.
It may not go out again the same way. But anyways, yeah. Benjamin Tal. Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah.
Look at you. You got all these articles ready today, TK.
Today was a good one, right? Okay.
Wow.
So here's what it is. The percentage of people. Okay. So we had a certain percentage of people, 2022, the amount of people who came to the country, right? How many of them were already here? All right.
Out of the 800,000 or out of the, which number?
Out of the 400,000, right? So this is a crazy way to look at this. Okay. So when you have all these people coming to the country and you have 400,000 people who came last year, out of those people, all right, they have the number here. This is the stat. Okay. 70% were already living in Canada. They didn't need housing. They were already here.
70%
70% of the people who were considered their new immigrations.
Give me a number.
Right?
Give me a number. What's the total? Forget about
70% of
400
2021 numbers. So 400,000 or whatever it was, right? Amid the pandemic in 2021, 70% of new permanent residents.
What's that, like 125,000?
Didn't need housing.
But that's 125,000 that did.
Yes. Good.
Well, we don't build that.
Okay.
Like,
so
we
it's
don't
actually
have that.
It was actually 131,700.
Ooh, that's pretty good math in my head, though. That's not bad.
Close.
6 grand. Come on, that's good.
So in 2022, that plunged to 42%, meaning that 58% of people.
Out of how many?
Whatever the 400,000 people that they were.
Was another 400?
Okay.
Something along those lines. People, bro, that came in that need a place to live.
Exactly. So now when they're looking at, bringing in this extra 465,000, those are new people. Those are people who are actually, so this is what they're saying now. So the number of non-permanent residents arriving in Canada grew from 258,000 in 2021 to 700,000 in 2022 because they're not all getting permanent residency. That's the whole thing about immigration. So from 258 in 2021 to 700,000 in 2022, it's 170% increase.
There needs to be a stat, TK, that says how many people need a place to live.
Exactly.
That
it's a different
country.
number. It's not just the immigration numbers.
Who needs
so it says, although permanent and non-permanent residents arriving from outside the country in 2022 approached 955,000, which represents an unprecedented swing in housing demand in a single year that is currently not fully reflected in official figures.
How many?
Said Tal. 955,000. Okay. Because now more people are coming in that are actually new to the country, not just permanent residencies. This is all people just
Need a
entering
place
the
to
country.
live.
Need a place.
This
Not
is
needed.
a
That's just the
stat.
total. It's just the total of people.
People need to start. We need to start making our own stats, TK.
It's not a stretch to suggest that the number of new international arrivals in 2023 might reach 1 million, said Tal. It's not a stretch to suggest that the number of new international arrivals in 2023 might reach 1 million.
But
Think
hold
about
on.
that.
But at some point, it's not just paper shuffling. At some point, like people are coming
Exactly.
in, right?
There's actual bodies. So we
bodies.
haven't even experienced yet what it's like to feel that many new people moving. And so we've got targets of an additional 3.5 million houses that need to be built between now and 2030. That's including the 2.5 million that they already think the governments are going to do.
That's a lot of laneway suites.
That's an extra.
That's a lot of laneway
suites.
suites.
Houses. We don't have 3.5 million houses that are going to. We probably might even not hit the 2.5 million, right? Regardless, and this is all over Canada. Okay, so it's a big place here. Regardless, that's
no
a lot of
labor
demand.
anywhere.
That's a lot of demand to be able to satisfy, right? And so I'm not saying prices are going to go up this year. I'm not saying that, oh my gosh, buy now or anything like that. Prices are going down this year, 100%. But the long-term outlook on real estate makes me a buyer for real estate. It does. It keeps me a buyer. I'm not like, oh my God, don't buy and stay away from real estate. I'm like the future is bright. You got to figure out how to finance it. You got to figure out how to weather the storm. You got to figure out a strategy. There's lots of development projects. They take years to put underway, they take years to put together. I got something coming up soon. That's a good project that I was talking to you about, so you got options for terms like vendor takebacks and, long closings, things like that, make it work to be able to get these things done. And then if you're an investor and you're buying rental properties and all that kind of stuff, and you're able to get a deal in this market from somebody who is stuck and bought it a long time ago. I got something I'm looking at right now, VTBs, different things like that are, exciting. I think the long-term prospects are very good, in my opinion.
They are at some point after the carnage.
After the carnage.
And how
take
long
5 years.
will it be?
I have no idea.
This is the thing.
Idea.
Yeah. So, I mean, yes, if you want to really feel uncomfortable for a little while to get to that long-term play, then now might be a good time to buy a place for you. But if you, I gotta think that, like, unless you have a pile of cash right now, like, you should wait, because prices are definitely going down. There's no way. I don't know. I got this guy on Twitter all the time, and he's like, Darryl, what's going on? Like, are prices going up? Are prices going down? What's going on with rates? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Right. But like, this is what I think. And like, he's like, I have this much money. And I'm like, you can't even afford anything with that much money. Like, you should go get, have you been pre-approved? No. Like, there's people that listen to this show and follow guys like us all the time and are still out there trying to buy a house without a pre-approval right now. Like, people are just not, like, I don't know what they're thinking. Like, why, unless you absolutely have to buy, TK, I have to buy right now.
Those are the only people
other
buying.
choice.
There's the only people who are buying right now are the people I've talked to a lot of, like when I'm dealing with the agents on my listings, and I'm like, what's your story? What's going on? A lot of, we sold already. Right.
Yeah.
Or,
can't find a rental either.
We're new buyers. We're first time buyers and we're looking to get our own place. And obviously, we're not going to rent forever.
And we have cash though. We have cash.
A lot of that.
Like, how's a first time home buyer supposed to buy a home that resembles a home, not a shoebox?
People have jobs, man. It's not like, and I'm not talking the first time buyers are buying the expensive houses anymore. Like, these are all sub 1 million, but the other houses are all move up houses, right? A couple of deals that I put together in Etobicoke there.
Sub 1 million.
The guy sold a house for a similar price
normal?
that he bought for, right? So he's like around that same $1.5 million mark, bought and sold, same price.
There's people listening in Saskatchewan that are dying. Like you say,
they're dying?
Yeah, like you're saying, like average under $1 million, like it's like not a lot of money.
Well, you know how it is in the GTA. Actually, I got a really good article too from the Calgary Herald that talked about, Calgary basically being Alberta poised to outperform Canadian housing market in 2023 as population swells, and they just basically talk about the migration levels from other provinces. So even though they're expecting, the Canadian Real Estate Association is expecting that every house prices are going to go down nationally, will drop 5.9%. What they're
Alberta's
saying,
actually going up right now.
what's that?
Alberta's going up right now. Like their average price went up, which is crazy. But like, what happens when oil crashes again? Is Alberta still the place to be? Is there enough there?
Average home price went up 5% in Alberta.
Yeah, which is
I
crazy.
should have read the article a little bit better. But basically they're the ones who are doing the best. And then they have this little chart, right? Just kind of shows where everyone was. Calgary went down. I mean, they were the only major city in Canada that went down between 2014 and 2019. Even Edmonton was kind of at par. So Calgary really took a hit already. So now it's still cheap and it's still affordable. And if people are from Toronto are coming in, those guys, they got too much money and they're gonna
wreck it.
Now the projections for Alberta prices will decline 5.6% for 2023, but that is the lowest number out of all the provinces. So that's why this article was written, is that prices will do better in Alberta than anywhere else.
People don't like hearing it, but
they don't want to hear it.
You gotta move to be able to afford something that you really want. You cannot look, a person making 100 grand right now cannot afford an average townhouse even, right? Not even close, right? Like, unless your family is making 200 grand, like, you're not living in the best place unless you've owned it for like a real long time, right? But it's tough now for kids, especially, man. Fuck these
we've
kids.
got some options now with these missing middle and multiplexes that are being permitted. I think that there's a huge opportunity there. For
gigantic.
Not to solve the housing crisis. What I'm saying is for the investors. Yeah. So if there's anybody listening to the show who wants to get into some of those properties, reach out to us, because Darryl and I have got some really great ideas. And if somebody's got some money and they want to join a little consortium of investors to be able to buy properties and turn them into 2, 3, 4 units, reach out to us, because we got some nice opportunities for sure.
Look at us.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
Cool.
Well, what else? I mean,
the only other thing that I wanted to talk about is how horrible realtors are, TK. Like, I just can't get over it, man.
What kind of realtors?
Just all kinds, really.
All
I mean,
kinds.
I'm not really dealing
Anybody.
with it. Oh, well, I mean, I told you about the episode with the residential people that walked up to my house a couple of weeks ago. That was interesting.
Yeah,
but no, I mean, it's been a lot of commercial industrial guys lately. And it's like, they don't get back to you. The prices don't make any sense. They don't send you the information. The other day, you want to hear, I had this conversation with somebody. It's like, that deal came back around. But now the other piece is willing to sell. And I was like, oh, great. How much do they want? They don't know. Like, oh, okay. Well, what do you want me to do? Like, you want to just throw spaghetti at the wall and see if it sticks? Well, I can't tell you who I'm talking to, but I mean, these are just, this is what's happening. It's like, I'll sell it, but I don't know what I want for it. Or at least that's the story being translated by the agent. But like,
yes,
who doesn't know what they're willing to sell their property for, TK? And how do you sell something when you don't,
everybody
no guidance?
Knows.
Everybody
knows if I got this number, I'd be pretty happy to sell.
So, but what does that tell you? Right. It's like, you know what? I'm not willing to sell. I'm willing to look at an offer. Right. Bring me an offer.
Yeah.
But this is not a way to buy something, to just throw some either I go so stupid high that I fucked up, right? And they accept the damn thing or even look at it, or I go too low and I upset them. Because there's no way to value it properly. So they have an idea in their head. Somebody gave them a number, right? Something put a number and gave them this willingness all of a sudden, right? But like, what good is an agent that doesn't give you any guidance at all or any information, just an address, TK? What are you supposed to do with this stuff? Just an
It really
address.
depends on the scenario. All right.
Oh,
Because
come on. What
I'm
scenario is the
I'm-
address enough?
I'm selling unpriced properties right now. All those commercial deals, right? And I got another one coming up.
But you have an idea what they'll sell it for.
I do, but I don't. I mean, the sellers, I tell them I'm going to get them the most amount of money possible. Let's find out what that is, and I
So
make
here,
sure that they
TK,
understand
let's
what's
do it.
out
I'll
there.
make an offer right now. What do I do?
Okay.
What's it worth? How do I
Well,
make, what do I
this
put
is a
on here?
property that's got, what are we talking about here? So it's a plaza, and here's the net
matter.
income. What cap rate do you want to pay? What's your financing like? How much money do you got down?
Right. So I don't have any
your
of the
strategy?
info, right? No, none of the info.
Well, here's all the expenses. Here's all the income. Like, you have to provide
This is
info.
the thing you have to
Okay.
provide.
Well,
It's so simple, TK.
Yeah, you
it's
gotta
so
provide the info.
simple. There's information that everybody needs to make a
Yes.
decision on something.
Yes.
And the address is very low on the list. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's high on the list, but it means nothing.
There's bricks. We got bricks. There's the roof was done last year.
You remember
bricks and
that thing
asphalt
over
shingles.
there that we
Asphalt
talked about
flat roof.
before? It's like for sale.
Yeah.
But I don't know where it is, and I don't know what they want. I don't even know who is selling. This is what I'm dealing with, TK. But like en masse, it's weird. Like, I wish I could say, TK, like, oh my God, one guy surprised me. This guy was on fire. He was all over everything. He gave me like, he was beautiful. No, it's like, I'm doing everybody a favor by calling them.
Mm.
They're doing me a favor by even responding.
Yeah.
It's insanity. TK,
you'll get it done.
We need training. Somebody needs to train these people.
Well, they should be getting training if they're in any type of professional environment. They should be getting some sort of training.
The brokers,
but it is a confusing environment. I'm going to give some, credit here to some people in that commercial space. It's a very confusing environment. There's not a lot of sales. Interest rates affect commercial real estate more than they do residential. Residential, there's a high volume of sales. You can kind of see where the prices are. But if someone does look at a commercial property and there is other factors involved, right? Like, what type of financing are you going to get? That does impact the value.
So more training.
Or what are you going to do with the land? I mean, you know that better than anybody.
But this is not a good excuse for being a shitty agent, because it's harder.
I agree.
This is a good excuse for being a better agent with more training.
More training, absolutely. But
training.
Not having a price is something that I think is we're in that stage right now where pricing is very hard to predict.
Fine. Pricing something at zero with some guidance and some information is one thing, right?
Yes.
Here is the survey and the leases and the net, the rent roll and the expenses, and I don't know what the price is.
If you haven't done that, then you're a bad agent.
You're just an asshole.
How is anybody supposed to decide on what the property's worth if you haven't done all this work?
Right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So how am I'm willing to buy. There's money behind me, willing to buy stuff if it falls into a specific category.
Yeah.
So, and I tell people, guys, this is what I'm looking for. I need this, and this. And that's what I'm looking for. Like, it's so specific, right?
Yeah.
But what do I get?
You're a dream buyer.
No, but what do I get? No, I'm not a dream buyer. I'm the worst buyer because I actually expect something from the agent. Right? Don't send me everything but what I asked for. Don't send me 7 of what I didn't ask for and 1 of what I asked for by accident. Look at the listings. Oh, you know what? It doesn't have this, so I can't send this to him because he won't be interested. But it's like that basic level of give them the information that they need, isn't even in the realm of reality for most of them. Or they're so busy that they can't respond. I don't
or they
it.
know that their client's not realistic. That's another common one. They know that their client's not realistic and they're just kind of entertaining the client, just to kind of yeah, we got it on the market. Oh yeah, I've told people about it. But they know it's like this.
I don't want to be the guy that provides the offer that makes them realize they shouldn't be selling now. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that. And there's a lot of people. I looked at this one deal. It was for $12 million. The net income was $100,000 and it needed $100,000 roof and the parking lot was destroyed. And it's in what world is this thing worth $12.5 million? I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like, tell me. That's what
Yeah.
they want. What's the point?
Why don't they want 20 million?
Well, they
If it's just going to
probably
be based
do.
on what they want, they should want more.
They were talked down to 12.5.
They're not asking enough
I'm
money,
sure.
Darryl. Yeah.
It's a travesty. It's a travesty for me. It's
Yeah.
a travesty for me, TK. And this
So
is all I
had
care
somebody
about.
tell me one time that they listed the most expensive property in this neighborhood with this feature and da 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 da. And I said, amazing. Yeah. They didn't say they sold it.
Right.
They say they listed it.
Oh, yeah.
That was a claim to fame.
Oh, yeah.
That's what agents do.
They
There's
claim
people
to
who
fame.
they just get listings. They just say, I got a listing at 12 million.
You're a superstar, bro.
Right?
Yeah.
I got
That's
a listing.
amazing. That's
Oh,
amazing.
look at it.
Wow.
My name's next to it on the computer.
Look
Woo.
at that.
That's the issue. Is
Yeah.
when that agent is strictly just using that seller's listing to be able to get more sellers or buyers for themselves.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Some trickery.
Some trickery.
Trickery. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So
Well,
it's never going to sell. They don't really care. They're not going to respond to you very quickly. They know once they give you any real information, it's not going to go anywhere. But
So
they
but-
have that listing, which means it's on the market and the seller thinks something's being done. And another seller approaches them and they say, yeah, I got this building for 12 million up in Concord. No big deal. Yours is 6 million. It's a walk in the park. Sell those all the time. Right?
But why not at least cultivate potential like buyers? Like, oh, you know
Because
what?
that's a lot of work.
I'll tell you. Like, I don't really think that this one's happening for less than like 15 million. And if you want to put an offer, like that's cool. But I do know,
Get you some
like, if you're
leads.
interested in something like this, like I know a couple other properties, can I send you something?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or can I put you on a list when something similar to what you're looking for comes up? But no, it's like, do you have the leases or a rent roll, or can you give me anything? Well, it's owner occupied and it will be vacant. You're on mute.
Do the math then, give me the expenses. What
Give
did
me
they pay last year
something.
for
Give me
water,
what's
hydro,
a rent
gas,
next door or something?
yeah,
Like,
insurance, something.
no, but
Tell me, did they
it's
have a
up
snow removal contract?
anything, TK. Did you do the roof in the last 10 years? Like, give me something. But I'm not kidding. Like the list of listings contacted is quite long, right?
Mm.
And anyways, I could go on like this complaining about realtors forever, TK, but I shouldn't have to. I should be surrounded by like people that are just doing such a great job because it's such an expensive asset and it's so important in Canada, right? For everybody. It's all anybody talks about. And we got all these fucking idiots running around fucking the whole thing up who don't know what they're selling.
If anybody, wants to troll us, because you hear us every week and you're like, man, these guys, they're just pumpers and what do they know, and so is better and this guy here knows more, and that's fine, and you're probably right. Darryl, anytime we are going to be alone, may or may not post a link to join our great podcast.
Yes.
On his Twitter. So 1, follow Darryl on Twitter. 2, watch for the link and click on it, and you can then join in the show and scream obscenities or have a rational, reasonable conversation with us about real estate. But it might be out there.
Watch for it.
So look out for it. And if you haven't liked, commented, and subscribed, now's a good time to do that too.
This is your last opportunity.
No, it's not.